Hello, welcome to this week's journal entry. We have Mariel as a special guest, and she is incredible. She helps women go from stuck thought patterns to mental and emotional clarity. So, I'm all about that. And she's also a somatic release dance teacher. It's incredible. And in our conversation, we talk about dancing in a therapeutic sense and in a way that anybody can do it, literally anyone. And she gives a tip on how to get started if you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't dance. But then, even more than that, she gives us a clearing on how to work through limiting beliefs and so much more. I know you're going to love this conversation. Today, we have Marielle on the journal entries episode, and I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I actually found Marielle from like this random thing that I signed up for on Instagram, or maybe it was like a Facebook ad. And for some reason, she was the only person that I picked out. I didn't even tell you this, but you were the only person that I saw you post one thing. And I was just like, click, I need to connect with her.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Do you remember what it was? I'm so curious.
When it was that I found you.
What it was. What did you see
Oh,
that like tuned
yes,
you?
it was you were talking about an abundance class.
Oh,
And
yeah,
you had said that you were doing like a giveaway or something. And I did
true.
not enter because we can talk more about abundance, but I like didn't know if you were gonna like watch me dance, and I'm not super like I'm not a good dancer. So I was just like, I'm just gonna look on like from afar.
And so I so love that you said that because I think that so many listeners would be like, "Yep, I would do the same thing." I'd be like, "Cool from afar,
Yeah.
bravo," like, which is so what I'm here for is like, no, lean in because it's so funny as women, which we are born dancers. And Megan, what do you, how do you, I've even had people where I'll post in like a dancing group, they'll be like, "This isn't dance." I'm like, "Well, how do you define dance?"
Mm.
And it's what is dance? Dance. I mean, you could say walking in the grocery store is a dance, and you could even
Oh.
start doing some little shimmy shakes or moving your hair side to side or whatever, and like you can make it more or less, or but we are dancing as we're moving through life, and so what's so cool is that I think that the expression of dance, and at least how I move, is life. You're seeing life through me as I'm moving, because really I move from the soul, and so. I think it's so interesting that all that stuff that you just brought up, which again is so relatable to most people, is just
Right.
like the ego. It's just the like, thing about what, right? One day someone telling you you can't do something, the world telling you you can't do something. But what would happen if you leaned in? And so yeah, that I was giving a free one-on-one a session to, which I know can like be like, oh my gosh, but it's so cool to see women being like, well, yeah, because I want to get over this thing about not getting into a dance class or thinking that I can't move my body. And then the idea of that though is like even to the classes that I offer online, you don't have to be on camera. So what I love is being like, I meet you where you're at. So literally you could be naked in your PJs. Like, so I've had people be like, I laid on the couch and kind of moved with you guys. Like it was so much good energy. And like, I'm like, perfect. There's no wrong way. You cannot mess it up. And even just being in the energy of like listening to the music or watching someone dance is really powerful. Even in my in-person classes, like just the celebrations that women have for each other, like I'm like, even if you're not feeling well that day, you want to come and like eat a chalupa or whatever, just watch, like you're gonna be an amazing energy and you're gonna feel the difference leaving. And so yeah, I mean, again, I'm so glad that you brought that up because I think it's so relatable, and a lot of people again are like, that's so great. I'm like, well, come, or join in, or and they're like, I'm not a dancer. I mean, it's definitely one of the most common reactions I get.
Yeah.
Where again, I invite people to like ask that, what does that even mean that you're not that? Like, where did that come from? Because I think if you asked a kid and I was like, hey, dance with me, they'd be like, okay. Like they would
Right.
have no thing about like I can or can't. They just would start moving their bodies and having fun. And that's the thing
Hmm.
too. And I love bringing more play and pleasure for women through movement. So I think because that can also be a stuckness for a lot of women as well, right? Connecting to their
Yeah.
body moves. So
Just hearing you say like that you dance through life, I'm like, I could get into that. Like that's some nobody really talks about. I mean, in the normal day to day, you don't hear many people talking about that, but I'm like, that sounds so relaxing and freeing.
Yeah, you start somewhere, right? Like again, it could
Hmm.
be in your car as you're holding on the steering wheel and just again moving your head side to side as you listen to music. I mean, again, I bet every viewer that's listening, right? There's some like dance you're kind of doing at some point, or
Yeah.
like you're cooking, or I don't know, you're brushing your teeth, you're moving your hand, and you could again just kind of whatever. But like anytime we're moving our body, I mean, think about it. If you just told your mind today, every movement I make is a dance, then you're gonna start
Hmm.
seeing the things, right? That you're like, oh, I kind of did that thing. All right, flip my hair, like, oh, that's a dance, like
Yeah.
just trying to get the bug out of the way or something as it flies through, like, that is a dance. And so, yeah, I invite people to start noticing, like, you are a born innate dancer. And how do you like to move? And to explore that, I love to explore that with women and doing different things like, we hold a lot of tension and stress in our hips. So even just as you wake up in the morning, you put on a song, you just move your hips back and forth. I mean, that is so powerful.
Mm.
Um, it could be simple little things. So again, I invite like habit stacking. Is it when you're brushing your teeth, cooking, right? Is it when you're even stretching, as you're driving in the car? Add a little bit, maybe more movement. Or in the grocery store, pick up an apple and put it in the air and dance like you just don't care. And you're gonna have people laughing and smiling with you, maybe even joining in.
Yeah.
So it really is, it's a ripple effect, when you start doing that and feeling more free and clear in your mind and body, which is what I'm all about. People around you start feeling it too. And that's really just the cool up level of the world and people that we're connected to.
I feel like the listeners are starting to get a sense that you're like more than just a dance teacher, right? I feel like
Yeah.
there's so much more than just dance that goes into what you do. So can you explain that? Like, what do you infuse into your dance classes and your sessions with people?
Yeah, you asked such good questions because yeah, it was well, if we take it back, I'll take a really short snippet of it's in the mindfulness world, the meditation. I taught it to kids, yoga. And I still love that stuff. But then I was like, I just there's something missing because I still had a lot of turmoil in my life, like in my mind.
Mm.
With these things we call, control issues and perfectionism and overachieving and just kind of feeling like, like just like the stress and anxiety and overwhelm, this thing we call anxiousness. And so I was like, huh. And so I was teaching mindfulness, doing all that as well. I danced a little bit growing up, but I was not a dancer at 3. I was not, I found it maybe like a little like middle school or like, which again, just comes to show you if I would have been like, well, too late, or, well, I started in middle school, so I'm not going to go anywhere, but I just did it because I enjoyed it. And I always, through my dancing experience, just did it to enjoy because my soul loved it. It wasn't about competing with it. It wasn't about being better than anybody else. I didn't really focus on other people. I think that's what we get mistaken for too, is that even in spaces, it's not here to compare. We're not here to compare, right? We're here to just nourish our own bodies and souls. And I lost it for a while. I got really serious. I struggled with, some more stuff mental health wise. And even like wasn't listening to music and dance. I realized that like I had not had that in my life. And then I started getting back into dance here and there and started realizing how nourishing it was for me. And then I taught dance like here and there, like a little class there, and then threw in some mindfulness and things like that. And I enjoyed it. And I started to kind of trial error a bunch of different classes, dance classes. And I realized like there was missing components that I wanted to see. Because I was like, yeah, dance is so much more than that. Because I saw women that were like, I black out when I dance, and I'm like, well, that's not great, like I'd love for you to like be in it, like because they just kind of block off all the stuff and they just kind of lose, whatever. And or some that like I can just feel their energy of self-criticism and they're stuck in their head. You can just feel it.
Mhm.
I'm a very energy feeler around people, and I was like. I would go to classes. I'm like, I could feel everyone's energy of like just, what's going on in the mind.
Mhm.
And I was like, I want more for them. I want more for them. I want them to be able to dance and also feel really good in their mind too while they're doing it. And kind of brought the mindfulness dance component in. And then I landed upon RRT, which is rapid resolution therapy. I cannot say more about it than it is life changing. It's like therapy on its head. And so I dove into that work. And after that, like my abundance, which is what I teach, was created because I was like adding this mind shift work, which is like deeper mind shift, not just like go to therapy, talk it out, come back next week, go to therapy, talk it out again, relive it every time, feel shitty, but band-aid. Like I kind of had a band-aid in my life. Like I guess it's just how it is. And when I found out RT, I was like, I feel more free and clear than I ever have in my life. And then one day I was like, what if I connected it to the dance? Because both of them made me feel so free and clear. If I
Mhm.
combine them, what magic can happen. And so I leaned in and I was like, well, let me do a class. Does anyone even want to show up to this? Like, I was like, and I think, because too, I think women are like a little bit hesitant, like, I just want to go to dance just to disconnect and not think about my life and whatever. But I'm like, but then when you leave, you're feeling like shit again. And I want you
Mm.
to leave actually feeling abundant, into your life, in the grocery store, at home, right? With friends, with family, with harder situations that you're like, oh yeah, like what I learned in there has impacted me out here. And so then it came to be. And then now just seeing the impact it has on women is so just incredible. And I'm so grateful that it has landed and came to me, and all the things, and just it attracts the most incredible women. And so I was like, okay, well, I want to offer this to people that can't be here live. I do like weekly
Mm.
classes, but not everyone can be here. And so that's when the energy program that I created is basically like my class on crack, I call it, where like you can get the mind shift and the dance, embodiment, somatic, and at your own pace and time and in your own home. And so you don't have to worry about the whole like, well, what people are gonna think of me and whatever. But you can learn how to feel more good in your body and dance through it. And you can also get the deeper mind shift work. And so I just live and breathe this stuff, and it's life changing, and seeing the transformations too.
I love that. I remember one thing that you told me. I think I had asked about like what is abundance, and you had said that you used to meditate sitting down like a good girl, and then one day you just like you started dancing and it felt so good. And that whenever you said good girl, I was just like, whoa, I sit while I meditate and like I'm doing everything like that. And so just hearing you say that, it was freeing to be like, oh, there is another way to do this stuff.
Yeah, that it was a transformational moment for me. And I will tell you too, if yeah, this good girl stuff, which I think actually most women have a subconscious reprogramming and conditioning around that, be a good girl, which is just controlling you. It's just ways of societies, and even to our parents, which they mean and intend so well. There's no blame here. I don't play the game of blame. I think of it as like a pile up of cars smashing into one another. And it's like we can go figure out who started this whole, pile up, or we can just go, okay, it is what it is, but can we be the one that like comes out of the lane?
Mm.
And so with that, like there are people and things, and even in school communities, which I taught in schools for a long time, where people are trying to control you. And so yeah, a great way to be like, good girl, good job. And you're like, oh, I'm loved. Okay, then I'm gonna keep pleasing. This thing we call people pleasing. And like if I don't, which again, so much subconscious stuff. I love to work around that and just debunk it, because again, that has a hold of you, and I like for you to have a hold of it, right? So
Mm.
a lot of times this good girl stuff has us. I like for us to have it, and so in that moment, right, it was like, I'm a good girl. No, sit still, I'm a good girl. And I just started kind of dancing, and I was like, what is this? This is so cool. And I was like, why can't I? Why can't I just dance as I'm meditating? And I think at the time it was a Joe Dispenza like gratitude meditation, and it was so beautiful that my body just couldn't move with it. And from there, I was like, yeah, maybe it's okay. Yeah, and
Mm.
who's to say that it's not?
Right.
Yeah, and then again, also that was really one of the most pivotal moments too, to leading to the abundance and the energy program.
Hmm.
Was that like, if I want women to feel more free and clear, they don't have to just sit there. And also too, I will plug the idea of in therapy, right? A lot of it is sit in a
Yeah.
chair, and let's talk. And I'm like, what if, and I work with someone one-on-one, and it's like their therapy is us moving and doing mind shift work, but also then moving again. And it's like, maybe there's a better way,
Hmm.
And I always say too, though, like, find what makes sense to you, because for me, sitting in a chair and talking, right, I could talk a lot. And so I was like, this doesn't make sense anymore. This doesn't make sense to me anymore. And
Hmm.
I invite listeners to lean into like what makes sense. Listen to the whisper. There's a reason that the her is in whisper. Listen to her. And what makes sense, and find that. So if dance doesn't make sense, or deeper mind work, RT, that I'm sharing that people can look into, doesn't make sense to you, what does? For
Hmm.
you, not for other people. And so I think that was really a big shift for me too, is actually asking myself, well, then what makes sense next? And I was like, I want to do more somatic. I want to get into my body. My body has stuff, and I'm not going
Hmm.
to get it out from just talking.
Jumping to the RRT, I've heard of that, but I've only ever heard of it in like a one-on-one space. So you said you incorporate that into your dance classes and your group programs?
Yeah, yeah. So yes, I mean, yeah, you can do it one-on-one, and of course get to like nitty-gritty things. And when I say like RRT and subconscious reprogram, people are like, what in the world is that? Right? It's the idea that like we don't just we're not our minds, right? Our minds are doing the best that it can. And any kind of reaction, interaction, response that we give is from a deeper mind place, at a level because of, again, past experiences, or, right, we've learned these kitchen's programmings from somewhere. And so when we can undo some of these things, these mechanisms, or think about like a spaceship and we kind of push that, turn that knob, whatever, things can feel a little bit better. Same like a browser on your computer, if we delete some tabs, it's going to run smoother. And so that's what we get to in those things. And we find kind of where, if you think about like a marshmallow in a tube and it blows up and it's kind of stuck, we get in there, we shrink it, and then it just goes through, and then we move on, and that happens in
Mhm.
my mind so often in the RRT space. And so, yeah, with my class, I do offer things that are more, and we call them intentions, right? Intentions, and then I do kind of moments that we go into. It's almost like a meditation, but I do things again that are a little different than a meditation or like a therapy thing, and just because I know the way the deeper mind works,
Mhm.
and what it likes to like hear and listen and see. And so I add some of that in, and then from there we move. And also to the music that I do for women in my program and in my classes, all are also subconscious. So the music you listen to is also programming. That is subconscious
I love
programming,
that.
right?
Yeah.
So people are, I mean, don't shoot the messenger, but some of these songs people are listening to, like, just know, like, it's going into your brain. And so to be mindful of that. And so, like, I won't play music that's not uplifting, and that's not singing in the good stuff. I want the good stuff to be in there. And so that's also, like, again, little hack that I throw in, little a taster, or a little opening the door of my secrets of the music itself, right? When you're
Mhm.
hearing that and you're dancing to that, or you're just listening to it, you're creating that reality in your mind.
I heard that maybe like a year ago that what you listen to is going in your mind, like subconsciously, even. So be careful. And it was a time where the popular song was just like, it was like a popular song, but not uplifting. And there was like tons of swear words. And it's just like, okay, maybe I shouldn't, listen to this as much as I am if that is like sinking in, you know?
Yeah, and that's like she's like, I'm like, we're here to have fun and
Yeah.
whatever. So there's like, what, it's all like, oh my God, I can't listen to, like, whatever, my big butt, all this stuff, and like all these yeah, the lyrics these days are just insanity to me. But at least be aware of it. Like, okay, I'm gonna listen to this and just know, like, just kind of, I don't know. There's ways that you could just be like, all right, I'm listening to it, saying the intention that I know, whatever.
Yeah.
But it is really fun. I mean, even just to be aware of it, like, oh my God, look at this, look at it, like, even
Yeah.
making a joke of it, like, oh my God, I'm programming this stuff. Okay,
We're
like,
programming
just
a
have
big butt.
fun. Exactly right. Making a big butt.
Oh my gosh. So you have the word her in a lot of things, just like in your vocabulary, I feel like, but then in the things that you offer. So where does that come from, and like what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I just, again, there was one night, it was so weird. I just started popping up with all of them. I was like, wait, there's power and energy and whisper and free her. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I mean, again, why did it come in? I have no idea. Some weird stuff happens to me like that. But I think that it's just cool, the power of our words, and seeing that the feminine, there's so much, even just in our words, there's so much of her in there. And I think, again, I do think the world is shifting, where I think, I mean, I don't agree that it's like women take over the world, but I think that women are here to lead the world in a good direction moving forward, that we have a lot to say and gifts, and again, that's why I'm so passionate about, when you can feel more aligned and free and clear, I think you can lead your life better, lead people around you better. And again, like, also help the men by, like, like, helping, showing them what we can give in a not wounded way, how we can
Mm-hmm.
stand tall in our power. And so, yeah, you'll hear a lot of energy and power from me, because I feel like if you have energy and power as a woman, and again, not in a dominant way, but in your own energy, that is magnetizing incredible things into your life, which is, of course, what I love to celebrate for women. I mean, women that I work with too, they're like, oh my God, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, now I'm doing this. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like, because it's all, you attract what you are. And so, but yeah, there is a lot of her. I mean, it's cool, even just like starting to notice, like, oh my gosh, the hers and all these words, and
Mm-hmm.
what are words anyway, right? But I thought it was a really cool thing that just had landed one day for me. It's like, wow, let's work with this.
Yeah, it stands out. Anytime I see it, I'm like, she found another word.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, I love that. I love that so much.
I also love how in your social media posts, um, I've seen it like in a couple reels in your stories and stuff. You reference her as in like I at least picture it as like the woman inside of me, not this like the conditioned woman, but like the inner child almost, right?
So yeah, oh gosh, again, I love your thoughts and your questions. You're incredible. The her is really, and again, it's whatever. I mean, I don't even want to say because it's like whatever you define that as. I love that you're like when I see that, I think this. I mean, I think it's again whatever you want to be. I think it can be all of it, but really, I think it's your soul. Like I'm not interested in what you look like, what you wear. Even people in my class are like, well, what do I wear? What do I bring? I'm like, whatever. Like there's no, I even say like you can wear socks, Crocs, high heels, tennis shoes. Like it's not about that, If we were not our bodies, if we were not our minds, how would your soul dance? It's like that, how would your soul live? How would your soul walk, talk, all the things? So you could say higher self, right? Future version of you. You could say, yeah, your 7-year-old you, right? Before the world got a hold of you. You could say, yeah, just the soul, right? Like the movie Soul. I don't know if you've seen that movie, right? But like, they're like, well, yeah, I do want to go out into the world and be a human. You're like, and sometimes we're like, why did we choose this? But, it's like her. That's the her is before all the programming conditioning. And that's what I love to do, just like unravel this onion of all this stuff that feels you feel like is keeping you stuck or trapped or that, these limited beliefs. So the her that has none of that, what is she doing? What is she feeling? What is she thinking? What is she acting? How is she responding? That's what I'm really interested in. And I think that even when you can think about that, even like on a day to day, right? Like, what would this version of me be doing if I didn't think, oh, I can't dance, like what would she be doing? I mean, would she be
Yeah.
dancing? Maybe not. Maybe she'd be going and trying out for that thing or putting herself out there more or making friends or going to events or, whatever. Again, dance of life. What does that look like for her?
Hey guys, taking a quick break from our conversation. If you're liking this topic and looking for a community space to tap into your power and the version of you that is thriving, I share that and so much more inside Emotionally Empowered. I'll share the link inside the show notes, so check it out. Okay, diving back in. This might be a challenging question or a very easy one, but what would you say is like the biggest limiting belief that women come in with, either to your classes or that you work one-on-one with?
Oh, I love this. And I too, I am one that does not hold back in podcasting. So I would love to offer a little clearing for people because I
Sure.
think one that I get a lot is not feeling enough. And every time I hear it now, I'm like, ooh, right? Again, like such programming conditioning, right? So if we think for a moment, a zebra, and we go up to the zebra and you're like, are you enough? And they're like, what? Like, what do you mean? Am I enough? And I'm like, yeah, like, do you think you're enough? They have no idea what we're talking about. No idea, right? They're like, enough of what? Like, what, And so when we think about that, zebras are doing pretty well compared to us, and how they're functioning and living.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be, it's like the idea, would it be okay? Would it be okay to no longer have this like inner thing of like, am I enough? I don't feel enough or, whatever. And so just even looking at that lens for a moment, like zebra is like, what are you talking about? Again,
Mhm.
also a young child, if you were like, hey, do you feel like you're enough? They're like, what? Like, and so even that word enough, right? And what does it even mean? What does it even mean?
Mhm.
Um, so starting there, and then also the idea of enough to who, enough to what, enough to, right? Because again, probably it was told by someone, you saw it somewhere, right? Again, all the conditions and programmings. So even just for a moment, seeing if I didn't have that in my vocabulary or in my body or in my mind, right, what would that be like? See if I just invite the listeners, close your eyes for a moment, just noticing, even notice the word enough, like on a big bulletin board in front of you, and just seeing that word. Maybe even taking a colored crayon and just seeing what color that would be. And you're just going to scribble all over it. And you're actually going to draw outside the lines. You're not going to even color in or around the edges like a nice, good girl, You're actually going to scribble all around it. Maybe you start even drawing things if you're an artist. We all are artists, but you start drawing around it. You just realize like the word actually isn't useful, isn't serving you, isn't helpful. And it might bring up some stuff and sensations in the body. And what I want you to do in that is kind of notice like this idea, like, am I enough or I'm not enough? Just like notice that feeling for a moment. Notice if it's just the thought, if it's a sensation in the body. And then responding with it, so what? The sensation in the body or the mind, responding with it, so what? And taking that crayon back and keep writing over the enough. Like you're like literally graffitiing it. People are watching you, like maybe you're somewhere where like a big bulletin board and they're like, what are you doing? And you're getting it. They might not get it, but you're getting it up there that this word enough is pointless, useless, not serving you. And it was just a way to control you. So that you could sit there and go, am I enough? And not do the things that light you up. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to take your crayon. And even if you want to make a like a noise, like a ha, or some kind of like yell, scream, if you're in a place to do so, and you're going to break the crayon in half in 3, 2, 1, snap. Breathe, clear, deep breath in. Exhale, release. See those crayons in your hand, or maybe you threw them on the ground. If not, you can throw them on the ground. And look at the beautiful masterpiece that you just created over this silly word enough. And then you see your little zebra friend there looking at it like, yeah, I don't know what that is, but cool. And taking your time when you're ready, coming back and opening your eyes.
I loved that.
And I intend that to be very, very useful, and come back to it often, but also come back to that crayon. Picture yourself with that color. I'm curious what color showed up for you.
Red.
Red. Ah, I love it. Love it. If your viewers want to share too, what color came up for them and what showed up for them in that. But that was just like a little bit of a taste of some of the stuff that I do. And what I love in sharing it, it's fun. I
It
think
is.
like, you know, like, oh my God, I have to be crying and going through my trauma 5 million times. And I actually really love to play that you actually feel like you left and you're like, that was actually fun, you know, like
Yeah.
that's what I'm here for. So
Yeah. You add like a fun element to it. And
yeah.
like, yeah, I do want to break that crayon now that you mention
Yes.
it.
Yes, exactly. You can go back to as much as you want. The color, the
Mhm.
crayon, right? You can go back to the billboard, or even just that reel. Again, we just created a reel in your mind for your mind to go, oh, interesting, right?
Mhm.
It's different. It's funny. Even too when you laugh, if you laugh during it, laugh is a subconscious response. And so that's always, I love always, you know, hearing of people laugh because again, we're not like, brain, tell my body to laugh. Like it does it on its. So it's such a
Right.
cool, it's a cool thing. So if you have laughter or even too crying, it's okay. I mean, crying is a release. You know, how cool
Mhm.
our body that like gets this water build up and then it's like, I need to get it out through the eyes. Like let it, you know, let it through. It's a great thing. It means that you're clearing, right? You're freeing, clearing up space. So
I love that. That's cool. Thanks for sharing that.
of course, my honor.
So, I would love for the listeners to be able to leave this episode kind of like knowing what might be holding them back and then having like I don't know, the courage or just like the awareness to then do the thing. Because earlier you mentioned like whatever feels good to you. But I think a lot of women either are like they don't know why they feel the way that they feel, or they don't know how to turn inward to choose what feels best for them right now. Do you have any
Yes.
advice for that?
Yeah, and you nailed it with the word courage. Again, it's also just a word, but I think that one, like we think of courage, think of like a lion, maybe, right? Right, if it's like an animal. Again, I refer to animals because they're free and clear, they're doing just fine, right? So the lion, like again, what is that lion version of you? Or even just picturing a lion in your mind is a great, great thing to do, right? But I think that what comes to mind to share about this idea is really, and this has actually been, again, your questions are so divine in timing of, I've been thinking about this phrase of movement creates momentum, and momentum creates a movement. Right. I'm here for a movement. I'm here for women to feel power. And I don't say empower anymore because empower means a lack. Right. Got to like empower mean that we didn't have our power. We've always had our power. It's just that we have to stand in it. And so when we think of momentum, a movement leads to momentum. Sorry, momentum it leads to movement, and movement, right? We are this movement. And so what is momentum? It's actually action. And that's what I love about when we dance. We are creating momentum. We are creating a movement when we dance. And again,
Mhm.
whatever that means to you, dance. Again, dance meaning taking action. Dance is just a form of action. So what I would invite listeners to do is take some action, and you can do it just in the mind itself at first.
Mm.
So there was even a beautiful, amazing study about people wanting to learn the piano, and some continue to practice. Do you know the story? Because some
No,
people
I
practice.
don't. I
Oh my gosh, some practiced on the piano every day. Some did half and half, or they practiced half, and they did it in their mind half the time of practicing it. And then there were people that didn't even practice at all on a real piano, but did it in their mind and rehearsed it in their mind. And they actually, I think, did just as well. It was a crazy thing of like really like, we have power to rehearse in our mind. The
hmm
greatest athletes, Olympians, they mental rehearse often.
um,
And so you can, even if you're like, but I'm too afraid to do this right now, whatever. I mean, one, we can get that cleared. But two, we can at least just start rehearsing in the mind. So get your mind ready for it and just doing it in your mind. So for example, if you're like, I want to talk more on social media, but I get really nervous, or this or that, I might this good enough thing, which maybe that was useful. But just picture yourself doing it in your mind first. Make that movie real. Again, the movie and TV that we watch, like all of that is also subconscious reprogramming. So create your own movie reel and do that first. And then I ask you to get into your body, get out of your head, get into your body. And so again, that's where again with my energy program, I combine the two. That's why I was like, I want them together, because once we kind of like start entertaining something in the mind, let's show our body that we're also engaging in this too. And when you had asked about courage, there's one song. So I have it's called the Abundance playlist. Part of the program is a bunch of songs that, again, subconscious reprogramming, even just the songs. I'm very selective about what songs I put in there, and they're very powerful songs for your mind. And I'm going to share one with you guys that I invite you to listen to after this call, or at some point when you can. And that's Courage to Change, which is from Sia. I love Sia. And it's a really powerful song. And just put that on, see that reel in your mind. Maybe you dance a little bit, right? Whatever, how you ever define dance, it could literally just be like, I look weird. I'm like a noodle, like, flopping around. Great. And see what happens. See if some momentum occurs there to create your own movement. And again, whatever that movement means to you, that means showing up on social media more, applying for that job, like whatever it may mean. But that's what I would invite. I would invite that the movie reel in the mind, and then, or even another song that lights you up. But Courage to Change just popped in when you had said that word courage. That I think is a really profound song to get the body involved in this. What is courage? What is this lion version of me doing?
Yeah, I love that. I love it's such a simple thing to do that you can do anytime, that movie reel in your mind, you
Yes, I am
know?
all about efficiency and effectiveness. I want to live my
hmm
life, and I want people that I don't I don't want you to feel like I have to do all the 10 million regimens before I start my day so that I feel okay. Like, no, I want you to feel okay now and doing simple things that will completely shift you. That's what I'm here about. Simple, easy, and fun too. It's nice for it to feel playful and not so
Yeah.
serious. So again, in
hmm
part of my life, what I was sharing is took life really, really seriously. And there was a point where like, I'm over this. Why? Why? I'm here to have a life experience. Why take life so seriously? It's not what we're here for.
Yeah. I love that. That's the version that I get from you is the fun version. So you're doing a good job at transferring
Thanks.
out of that.
Come a long
Um,
way. Yeah. Yeah.
It is crazy though with the mind thing. I was just thinking about there was a study about journaling and how it took participants who were about to have a big surgery and they all knew about it and they had like a study group that didn't journal at all, one that journaled I think it was just like a few times leading up to the surgery, and then maybe some that journaled afterwards to like process everything that happened. And they said that the group that journaled just a few times before the surgery healed 11 days faster than those that didn't journal at all or waited to journal until after they felt the thing. And it was because they were visualizing and they could like embrace the potential pain or whatever it was going to be, and then actually like their bodies physically healed, which I thought was incredible.
And again, it's so cool, right? And this is also the idea, find what makes sense to you, because just like the movie reel thing, I love this journaling that you like. That is so, because it is it's different but the same,
hmm
right? So some people, like, the journaling really lights me up to go and lean into that, because yeah, that is literally reprogramming also, and the
hmm
subconscious mind stuff when you're doing that, right? Or the movie reel, or both, you
Yeah.
know. And the power of that, we can keep, debunking all the things that we want to debunk, but the power of that what you entertain grows, right?
hmm
What you put your attention on grows. And so that's what you appreciate appreciates. And so yeah, that's so cool to see that happening too. But yeah, I'm so glad you brought up the journaling, which is so cool. When I learned that what you do, I was like, that is also very, very cool.
Yeah. It's fun. Sometimes I do like the visualization and then journal afterwards just to like really hone it in, you know.
Yeah, yeah, you can have it.
We're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, too, even when,
Yeah.
right, if you like dance or you play a song or
Hmm.
you do the mind thing, and then yeah, from there, like, you could totally journal about your experience, right?
Hmm.
We're all different how we're designed, of what is useful for us. So play around. I mean, again, this is just a play. Again,
Yeah.
also the her, play her, right? We're a player in this life. And so play around, see what you're feeling. You want to stack some of them, you want to just try one, depending on your time, what your energy is that day. Right, you got
Mm.
energy for it? Yeah, do a movie reel, do a dance, do journaling afterward. You only got a little bit of time. Pick one that feels like it's the most lit up for you at this moment in time. It's all really, really useful. I mean, better than not doing any of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I feel like your energy is just like palpable and contagious and like so fun just to like even listen to. So if people are interested in the energy or the abundance or anything like that, where can they go to get more of you?
Yes. So my Instagram is pretty active. I'm probably the most active on there currently. And two, because I also, give a lot of free content and just even my posts, my posts are really to be like subconsciously reprogramming you, just watching them with my dancing and with the things that I offer on there. And so definitely, just check those out. Say hi. I love engage. That's where I just engage the most with people, like voice memoing, messaging. People are hesitant, like I want to dance, but I are not sure about the program. It's a good fit for me. Message me. Don't hesitate. I'm not here to like, pound the sales. I'm here to just really see like, is it a good fit? And what is that version of you doing? And just having a conversation. I love to connect with women. And so yeah, my Instagram is mindfulness with Mariel. You can also email me at mindfulnesswithmariel@gmail.com if you have any questions. I'd also love to hear, how the enough landed and anything like what were the ahas or the takeaways of this. And I always love knowing that. And to the energy program. So all of that is on the bio of my Instagram. Is the best way that you're gonna get it. Again, super easy, simple to go, click, all of it's there. My abundance online classes are offered on there. But yeah, the easiest way, honestly, I just invite you to message me, just message me, be like, hey, I'm interested in something, don't know what exactly is a good fit, because I offer a few different things.
Yeah.
But the energy program is, again, plug and play on your own, like a podcast like you're listening to right now, where you get to take at your own time and own pace. And so that I definitely highly recommend that. And then you get to connect with the beautiful women that are also part of it, which is so cool because they're just incredible. I love them. And then two, you can also work with me one-on-one. I do it's called Shit to Shift sessions, where
I
again,
love
like
it.
if you felt like that enough, you're like, yeah, it was good, but like there's still like I felt the rattle, like felt the whatever, reach out. Let's get that done in a more one-on-one setting. And then two, I'm also offering abundance one-on-one sessions where we can really go in again more the deeper mind and dance embodiment, really getting it connected to more specifically what's going on for you. But so really it's kind of choose your own adventure of where you're feeling pulled. If you want that one-on-one support, if you're like, ooh, I want that group energy and really just get, to the plug and play for my lifestyle right now. All of it is there and welcomed. And then two, I offer like online abundance classes usually once a month. And a lot of times free or, very, again, I want it to be available for people to
Mhm.
experience this so that you can decide. I say just do one thing, one time, a session with me, just dive into the energy program, come to Abundance Online, and just you get to leave going, did that make sense to me? Did that make sense to my
Mm.
soul? And
Yeah.
if it didn't, I'm like, great, I'm so excited. Now you're gonna get more clarity on the next step. But again, momentum creates the movement, right? And so
Mhm.
do something, do something, is what I invite people to do.
I love that. So at the very least, everybody listening, tag Marielle and I what color you saw during your
The
the
crayon.
visualization. Yes. What crayon color? And did you break it? Did you throw it on the floor? When you
Yeah,
said if you didn't throw it on the floor, you can throw it on the floor. I was like, yeah, wait, I do want to do that too. Yeah,
exactly. We
awesome.
don't color the lines here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Marielle. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much, Samantha. You are amazing.
Oh, thank you.